The first person I saw after stepping off the plane at JFK was a ghost from a past I had buried 7 years ago, my ex-fiancé's sister, standing near the baggage claim with her arms folded tightly. "It's been 7 years, Alara," she said, her voice sharp. "Don't you think it's time you made things right with my brother?" Her brother, Julian Vance, was the man I'd nearly married. 7 years earlier, at our engagement party, he'd humiliated me in front of everyone we knew. He'd called off our wedding, claiming I'd betrayed him with another man, then left with his young assistant, leaving me to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. There had never been another man. The pain of his accusation had driven me out of New York that same night. Now, here was Jessica, his sister, acting as if I owed him an apology. I let out a bitter chuckle. Apologize? For what? My daughter's already in school. That chapter closed a long time ago. Jessica's flawless makeup couldn't hide her shock. "What? You're married? And you have a kid? A 5-year-old? Her voice faltered, as if the idea was unthinkable. I gave a brief nod, eager to avoid the Vance family drama. I tried to move past her, but she grabbed my arm, her grip surprisingly firm. "You're lying, Alara. This can't be real." Her voice rose, catching the attention of nearby travelers. "You were obsessed with Julian. You gave up everything for him. Your dream job, your future. How could you just move on and marry someone else?" Her eyes flashed with a sudden, wild idea. "That child, she's not 5, is she? She's 7. She has to be Julian's." A headache pulsed behind my eyes. I couldn't believe she was twisting my past love for Julian into some delusional theory. Yes, I'd loved him once, so much that people saw me as a shadow, not his equal. But that was a lifetime ago. Why would I make this up? I said, my tone flat. As for Julian's child, that was dealt with years ago. My words seemed to set her off. Her nails dug into my arm as she leaned closer. "No way. Who's your husband? Is he even half as good-looking as Julian? Does he even measure up?" Her questions came fast, each one laced with disdain. "What's his job? Does he make decent money?" Her tone dripped with the assumption that leaving Julian meant I'd settled for less. I had no patience for her blind loyalty to her brother. "Jessica," I said evenly, "this isn't about you or your family anymore." I started peeling her fingers off my arm. She held on tighter. "What, Alara? Did you marry some nobody just to get back at Julian? Do you even know what he's been through? He tore himself apart trying to find you." She straightened, her eyes gleaming with pride. "He's running Vance Enterprises now, powerful, successful, every woman's dream. And you? You threw it all away over some petty grudge." Her smugness was unbearable, as if no man could compare to her brother. She tilted her head, her voice mockingly sweet. "It's not too late to say you're sorry. The Vances can be forgiving." Her audacity left me speechless, a wave of disgust washing over me. 7 years ago, I stood on a stage in a flowing white gown, my heart full of hope for a future with Julian. But instead of vase, he grabbed the microphone and tore my world apart. He tossed the engagement ring meant for me onto the floor. "I trusted you, Alara, but you've been lying to me," he shouted. "Lying about what?" I asked, stunned. He turned to the shocked crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, there will be no wedding today. Alara has been unfaithful, and the child she carries isn't mine." With that, he threw a stack of photos at me. They fluttered to the ground, grainy images of me in a compromising position with a stranger I'd never met. The guests gasped. Julian's parents glared with disgust, while my own parents' faces flushed with humiliation. "Those are fake," I cried, my voice shaking. "I don't know that man." But Julian's gaze was ice cold. "The Vance family has a reputation to uphold. I won't marry someone who's betrayed me, and I won't raise another man's child." He took his assistant's hand and stormed off the stage. The wedding was over. My parents, after a stinging slap across my face, chased after the Vances, leaving me alone amidst the scattered photos and judgmental stares. The next day, Julian's mother summoned me to a quiet cafe. She studied me with a cool, unreadable expression. "Julian's actions were tactless," she said, sipping her coffee. "This should have been handled privately, not turned into a circus. We know the photos were fabricated. Julian's a good man, but he's impressionable. He was misled, and we've addressed it with him." Her tone sharpened. "But the damage to his image is done. As the heir to Vance Enterprises, he can't afford even a whisper of scandal. He needs a partner who's beyond reproach." I stayed silent, understanding her implication. She pushed a bank card across the table. $2 million. End the pregnancy. I stared at the card, my voice barely a whisper. What does Julian think? She gave a faint, calculated smile. My son? You saw his assistant, Melissa Monroe, at the party. Oxford educated, poised. She's the kind of wife he needs. Our family values tradition. We can't have a daughter-in-law with your reputation. It wasn't about my supposed past. It was about securing a strategic marriage, even if it meant discarding their own grandchild. Alara, are you even listening? Jessica's furious voice snapped me back to the present. My brother's a success now, and he's still hung up on you. All you have to do is apologize, and you could have everything back. I looked at her, feeling only pity for her delusion. No, Jessica, I said firmly. I'm happy now. I don't need Julian's forgiveness. I turned toward the taxi stand. You'll regret this, she shouted. Without Julian, you're nothing. You'll be stuck with some nobody husband forever. I didn't look back. People once thought I couldn't survive without Julian Vance, but life moves on, with or without him. At the preschool, I spotted my daughter, Lily, across the street, giggling as she jumped rope with her friends. Her joy warmed my heart, and I started crossing toward her. Suddenly, I was shoved against a brick wall. Alara, playing games to spite me? Really? The voice was unmistakable. I looked up to see Julian, devastatingly handsome in a tailored suit, his eyes burning with intensity. We'd grown up as neighbors, inseparable from childhood. He'd worked hard to get into my university, even turning down a prestigious scholarship abroad. Everyone said he was devoted to me. I'd given up a promising career to support his ambitions, cooking for him, easing his stress, becoming his shadow in the eyes of others. We used to laugh about it. Then Melissa Monroe entered the picture, his capable, charming assistant. At first, I didn't worry. Julian had always been surrounded by admirers, but his heart was mine. Until it wasn't. Their messages grew frequent. One day, I forgot my phone at his office. When I returned, I overheard Melissa holding it saying, Julian, there's a message on Alara's phone from someone called My Love. She saw me and faked a blush. Oh, Alara, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to pry. It's a female friend, I explained, playing a voice note to prove it. The woman's voice was clear, but Julian's expression darkened, and he brushed me off. After that, a chill settled between us. My attempts to reconnect were met with, I'm busy with work. Meanwhile, Melissa was always there, offering him support. The day before our engagement party, she sent me a photo of Julian asleep beside her, looking exhausted. Her accompanying message dripped with condescension. He's been so stressed. Try not to make it worse. I told myself it was a misunderstanding, that he was just overworked. I fought to save our relationship right up until the ceremony, never imagining he'd use fabricated lies to publicly destroy me. Now, here he was, his eyes wild with accusation. You disappear with my daughter for 7 years, Alara, and you have nothing to say? Mr. Vance, I said coldly, that child doesn't exist. Stop lying, he roared. You betrayed me with some nobody, took my mother's money, and now you're letting another man raise my daughter. Before I could respond, he rushed past me and grabbed Lily. Stop, I screamed, my heart racing. He ignored me, holding my sobbing daughter. It's okay, sweetheart, he said softly. Daddy's here to take you home. Lily wailed, thrashing in his arms. You're not my daddy. I want mommy. Julian, give her back. I lunged, but he pushed me, sending me crashing to the ground. He glared down at me. You stole my child. Why should I let you keep her? I scrambled up, ignoring the pain in my scraped hands, and charged again. Jessica appeared, grabbing my arm. You're pathetic, Alara, she sneered. Using a kid to worm your way back into money. You're not taking a Vance child anywhere. As she held me, Julian headed for his car, still carrying Lily, who was screaming. He reached for the door, glancing back at me. If you want her back, divorce that loser. No daughter of mine will call another man dad. Suddenly, a black Rolls-Royce roared toward Julian's car, stopping inches from it with surgical precision. Julian froze, his grip on Lily loosening for a split second. She broke free, stumbling toward me, crying, Mommy. I scooped her up, shielding her. Julian recovered, pasting on a fake smile. Come on, sweetie, he cooed. Daddy will take you to an amusement park, maybe an aquarium with dolphins. It was a desperate ploy. He didn't know those were everyday joys for Lily, or that we'd taught her stranger safety from a young age. She'd never go with him. His charm failed, and his face twisted with anger. He lunged toward us. I braced myself, holding Lily tightly as she screamed. But before he could reach us, a tall, impeccably dressed man stepped in, grabbing Julian's arm with unyielding strength. His face was striking, like something carved from stone. It was my husband, Adrian Hale. Lily's tear-streaked face brightened as she reached out, crying, "Daddy, hold me." Julian's eyes gleamed with misplaced confidence, and he opened his arms. "Come here, sweetheart," he said, his voice dripping with false warmth. A sharp, humorless laugh sliced through the moment. "I've never seen someone so eager to play stepfather," Adrian said, his tone calm but laced with menace. Julian's head whipped toward him. "Who do you think you are?" he demanded. Adrian stood unfazed, his presence commanding the space around him. "Adrian Hale," he said evenly, nodding toward me. "Ilara's husband and Lily's real father." The words hit Julian like a punch. He sized Adrian up, taking in the tailored suit and unshakable confidence, searching for any flaw. Finding none, he fell back on bravado. "You think you can fool me with that story? Hand over my daughter, or my family's lawyers will destroy you." Adrian's smile was cold. "Go ahead and try. I'll see you in court." Julian's face reddened with fury. "You bastard," he roared, swinging a wild fist at Adrian. Adrian, taller and clearly more skilled, dodged effortlessly and landed a precise jab to Julian's jaw, sending him sprawling. Jessica, seeing her brother fall, lost control. She lunged at me, her hands clawing toward Lily. I stumbled back, shielding my daughter with my body. "Daddy, she's hurting Mommy," Lily screamed. Adrian was at my side in an instant, blocking Jessica's frantic attack. Realizing they were outmatched, Julian now nursing a bruised face, Jessica pulled out her phone and dialed the police, a smug grin spreading across her face. "Last chance to apologize and give us the child," she hissed. "Or you're finished." Julian, back on his feet, smirked with the confidence of a man used to getting his way. As a prominent businessman, he believed the law would bend to his influence. "Say you're sorry, Ilara," he said. "If you don't, we'll take her and you'll never see her again." I met his gaze with icy silence, refusing to give him the satisfaction. Moments later, a police car pulled up and the commissioner himself stepped out, his eyes scanning the chaotic scene. "What's going on here?" he demanded, noticing Julian's swelling bruise. Julian pointed at Adrian. "This man attacked me," he shouted. The commissioner's expression darkened. He turned to Julian, then glanced at Adrian with a respectful nod. "Mr. Hale," he said, his tone deferential. "Is this the person who caused trouble?" Adrian remained composed. "Trouble's putting it lightly. He tried to take my daughter." "That's a lie." Julian snapped. "She's my daughter, with Ilara." The commissioner's eyes narrowed. "Your daughter? She's clearly the child of Mr. and Mrs. Hale." It wasn't just flattery. Adrian was a known figure in the city, tied to major development projects. The commissioner had seen our family's milestones, our wedding, Lily's birth, the quiet updates on Adrian's private social media. To him, Julian's claim was absurd. "Look at her," he said, gesturing to Lily. "She's got her father's features, her mother's eyes. What part of her resembles you?" Julian, convinced of a conspiracy, spat. "You're all in on this. You're protecting the man who stole my fiancé and my child. You'll pay for this." He and Jessica stormed off, hurling threats over their shoulders. The commissioner turned to us, his voice reassuring. "Don't worry, Mr. Hale. We'll keep tabs on him. He won't get away with anything illegal." I nodded, grateful but uneasy. Julian's vengeance wouldn't be so simple, and I had a sinking feeling it would come sooner than we thought. 3 days later, the internet was ablaze with headlines about the fight for the Vance heir. In a tearful livestream watched by millions, Julian spun a dramatic tale. He cast me as the deceitful ex who'd fled with his child, falsified her age, and cruelly kept her from her true father. Adrian was portrayed as a ruthless opportunist who'd torn apart a family and reveled in raising another man's daughter. The story spread like wildfire. Shares of Adrian's company, Hale Enterprises, dipped slightly but noticeably. Julian called me, his voice smug with victory. "Having second thoughts yet, Ilara?" "Second thoughts about what?" "I had a bright, loving daughter, a loyal and caring husband, and a successful career. If not for Julian's obsessive campaign, my life would be idyllic. For the first time since his return, I offered him sincere advice, hoping to end this madness. Julian, stop this now. You're only embarrassing yourself. He laughed, mistaking my words for desperation. Divorce that loser, Alara, or I'll make sure you never see your daughter again. Another voice joined the call, soft and syrupy, one I recognized immediately. Alara, why are you being so stubborn? It was Melissa Monroe, Julian's assistant, her tone dripping with false sympathy. Julian was heartbroken, searching for you all these years. He's your daughter's father, your childhood love. You can't just throw away decades of history for some new guy. Her crocodile tears painted me as a heartless villain tormenting poor Julian. His voice hardened. You heard her, Alara. Ready to admit you were wrong. I couldn't hold back a sharp, icy laugh. Julian, the only one who needs to own up to a mistake here is you. I ended the call. The stock dip was a minor inconvenience for Adrian. As a titan in the business world, it would take more than an online smear campaign to rattle him. But I could see the strain in his eyes. The media was relentless, trailing him everywhere. Worse, paparazzi had started lingering too close to Lily's school. To his credit, Julian seemed to ensure his daughter wasn't physically endangered by the chaos he'd unleashed, but his constant attempts to approach her, to whisk her away, were wearing us down. One night I turned to Adrian. Let's do a paternity test, I said. Let's put this nonsense to rest once and for all. I'd hesitated, wanting to protect Lily from the ordeal. No child should have to watch their parents prove their legitimacy, especially through an invasive blood test. As I grappled with the decision, Lily approached me, her small face resolute. Mommy, I don't like that bad man, she said. I want to do the test. I want to keep you and Daddy safe. My heart swelled with pride and love. I pulled her close, showering her with kisses. The paternity test was conducted under the watchful eyes of the media to ensure transparency. When the results were announced, confirming with 99.99% certainty that Adrian Hale was Lily's biological father, Julian fell apart. That's impossible, he shouted, his face pale and frantic. This is a setup. There's no way he's her father. He demanded a second test, but I refused to put Lily through another ordeal. Adrian stepped forward, his voice steady and unyielding. Mr. Vance, like it or not, Lily is our daughter, Alara's and mine. Julian lunged toward Lily, ranting about another test, but a figure stepped in his path before he could reach her. It was his mother, Mrs. Vance, her expression heavy with sorrow. Julian, stop this, she pleaded, her voice breaking. The child Alara was carrying. I paid her to end it 7 years ago. Let this go. Melissa is the wife you need. Julian froze, his face ashen. What did you just say, Mother? Mrs. Vance, her love for her son clear but her disdain for me unwavering, raised her voice. 7 years ago, I gave Alara $2 million to terminate the pregnancy. She agreed and had it done before she left New York. I made sure of it. Julian's eyes widened, flicking between me and his mother. A raw, anguished cry ripped from his chest. Mother, he gasped, his voice shaking with fury. Are you saying you got rid of my child? Mrs. Vance's face blanched. Julian, you can have other children. We needed a fresh start. Melissa is the only daughter-in-law I'll accept. Her words broke him. Julian collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably, his grief raw and years overdue. After a moment, he staggered to his feet, gripping his mother's shoulders, his eyes burning with betrayal. Mother, Julian whispered, his voice low and dangerous. The money you gave Alara, it wasn't just to leave, was it? You forced her to end my child's life, didn't you? Mrs. Vance's face turned pale as snow. She tried to speak, but her gaze met mine, and the life faltered before it could form. A devastating truth settled over Julian. He spun toward Melissa, who lingered nearby, her eyes wide. Tell me the truth, he demanded. Where did those photos come from? Melissa flinched. I told you, Julian. I found them in Alara's wardrobe. Her wardrobe. His eyes narrowed. Why were you in her room? And what else was in there? Dresses or pants? Melissa's gaze flickered nervously. It was years ago. How would I remember? Under Julian's searing stare, she stammered. Dresses, I think. Mostly dresses. A broken, bitter laugh tore from Julian's throat. Melissa's brief look of relief vanished as he slapped her hard across the face. Her wardrobe was empty, he bellowed, his voice raw with pain. Tears streamed down his face as he explained. After I'd learned I was pregnant, we'd turned my old room into a nursery. All my things had been moved to his room, our future shared space, weeks before the engagement party. My wardrobe had been completely bare. The truth hit him like a tidal wave. For the first time, the proud Julian Vance crumpled to his knees. He begged for my forgiveness, pleaded for me to return, swore he'd raise Lily as his own if I left Adrian. I stepped back, my voice calm but resolute. Julian, what we had ended 7 years ago. No one stays frozen in time. I've built a new life. Please leave my family alone. I turned away, his anguished sobs echoing behind me. I felt no sympathy. To drive the point home, I leaned toward my husband, my tone light and teasing. Adrian, love, I'm in the mood for your lemon chicken tonight. He grinned warmly. Anything for you. Lily, clutching his other hand, hopped excitedly. And I want a happy meal. Adrian chuckled. Just this once, kiddo. As we walked off, Julian's cries blended into the city's hum, fading until they were gone. 2 months later, a news alert caught my eye. Vance Enterprises had collapsed into bankruptcy. The article noted that Julian Vance, the company's heir, had shaved his head and retreated to a remote spiritual retreat in upstate New York. Mrs. Vance and Jessica tracked me down, appearing at my doorstep. They dropped to their knees, pleading with me to reach out to Julian and urge him to return. I stood in the doorway, Adrian's arms steady around me, and shook my head. I'm sorry, I said calmly. I have no ties to your family anymore. I'm not responsible for fixing this. I closed the door gently, but firmly. The next time I saw them, they were on a street corner, handing out leaflets, their faces etched with exhaustion. Nearby stood Melissa, her expression hardened into a bitter grimace. I watched as she pushed Mrs. Vance to the pavement, shouting insults. Later, I heard Melissa was pregnant with Julian's child. Her family, scandalized by her pregnancy outside marriage, had cut her off, leaving the former socialite with nothing. But their troubles were no longer my burden. Next week, Adrian, Lily, and I were set to embark on a long-awaited European vacation. Our life was filled with joy, and the horizon promised even brighter days.